Here's a video on how to control for a variable in a Pearson's correlation. This is called a partial correlation, which is related to the partial and semi-partial correlations in regressions, which are a lot more difficult to explain. But this one is just a partial correlation just for a regular correlation. So I'll make this painless as possible. So we're trying to predict how many new birds will join the flock. Oh, this takes place up in San Clemente, right up north of us down here. And again, we're trying to predict new birds. That's our DV. And our IV is we count percent of the returning birds, right? What percent of the birds in the flock are old birds? They're all tagged and everything. So, but let's take a picture of this here. Boom, 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 boom. And this is going to be a typical bivariate correlation. And we're just going to use the Pearsons. We're not going to use the Spearmans or anything. Okay, we go to analyze. We go to correlate. We go to bivariate. Move it so you can see it. Cha-ching. Right, so percent of returning birds is our predictor. And new birds is our what we're trying to predict. And let's get this over here so you can see it. None of this stuff over here. And that's all we need. Click OK. So we have a very strong correlation. Negative 0.748. So what does that mean? That means... So translated into English, because it's a negative correlation and it's really big, it's not realistic. It's so big, but it's what that means is when returning birds goes up, new birds goes down. That's basically what it means. But let's think about this for a second. So we have a cause and effect, but there could be something else that could be causing the number of new birds to fluctuate, right? There's an outside variable. It could be a lurking or a confound or just something else that might be influencing the number of new birds joining the flock. Let's pretend it's predatory birds. Great one. So that's a third variable, right? Predatory birds. And how many are seen in the area? Does that affect how many new birds join the flock? Let me pull up the data set. And there is the new variable. So first thing I would do is I would look at the correlation between the new variable and the DV, and hopefully if it is acting as a significant interferer of the relationship between returning birds percent and new birds, it should be strongly correlated to these guys. So let's take a look. Correlate bivariate. So new birds and then predatory birds. Oh, look at that, it's already preset. Good for me. Okay, and then click OK. Let's take a look. And there it is right there. Wow, it's almost perfect, right? It's way too strong, 0.960. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the real relationship between percent of returning birds and new birds while controlling for the number of predatory birds seen. I would probably think that because this is so strong, it's going to make the other correlation not significant. But let's do it and not talk about it. We're going to go to analyze, correlate. You're going to go to partial. So we want the original correlation in the top box, right? Percent and new birds. And then we're going to control for this. And I would bet money that it will no longer be significant. So let's take a look. And here is the new box. And it is not significant. So this is how you read that, right? Partial correlation. The controlled variables is the number of predatory birds. So when we control for that, the correlation between percent of returning birds and new birds ain't nothing, right? It's not significant. So sometimes it is significant. What that means is that the variable you're controlling for isn't that much of an influencer. But in this particular case, yes, it's the number of predatory birds that is controlling how many new birds join the flock. So I hope that helps. MGZ.